Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. We are back with the very awesome and very inspiring Michelle Ward, and we are going to pick it up where we left off last week with a question from Ethan.
I was on the website yesterday, and I was just looking at a lot of the testimonials, and it seems like what you do a lot is giving people more control of their lives and what they do with all their time.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody else kind of asked something similar to this, but are there any steps that are really always there when it comes to these people transitioning from jobs they don't like or perhaps they're into what they want to do?
Yeah.
Are there any common steps?
Yeah, a few things come to mind. I think really the hardest thing, and this is so annoying because it's not an easy fix. I wish I could just be here's the easy fix that everyone has to do, and then everything will be great. It's a mindset shift. It's a perspective shift. It's I say in the video series that's up on my site now, if you sign up for my newsletter, you get the 10 ways to discover work that feels like play website series. And the very first step is suspend disbelief. Even if it's just for a freaking week. Every single time you hear, I call it the vampire voices because they suck all the good stuff out of us. Every time you hear that vampire voice in your head saying, you can't do that. You're dumb. You're not different enough. Your work stinks. Blah, 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 blah. We all have those voices, and they're, I think, what holds us back the most. For a freaking week, say, thank you, vampire. I will take that under consideration next week. But this week, I'm just going to ask myself how. I'm going to ask myself, and I'm going to ask, just entertain it. And I think that that's probably the biggest hurdle. Because I have a lot of clients that come to me not admitting that they want to be entrepreneurs, but the vast majority of them wind up being entrepreneurs. And I think they're so scared by it, and they've had this story in their head forever that it's unstable and they can't make any money, especially if they want to do something creative. If they want to be a writer, if they want to be a musician, if they want to be a painter, they're told that's not a grown-up thing to do. You'll never make any money. And so they have to start believing that there is a how that works for them in the semblance of what they need as a grown-up. And so I feel like that's probably the biggest thing. And then I think the other piece is being proactive with your career. And I would think it's obvious, but my biggest pet peeve are the people that just complain about their jobs and then they don't do anything about it. It's no one's forcing you to sit at this desk. No one's forcing you. So if you're so unhappy here, especially now that we're out of the recession or whatever and jobs are easier to come by, go do something for yourself. And if your job isn't that soul sucking, but yet you're still not fulfilled and you need more meaning in your life, I've had clients that realize their careers weren't necessarily the problem. The problem was that they didn't feel like they had a meaningful personal life or creative life that they had stifled. And once they start making time for their photography, for their music, for knitting or whatever, all of a sudden their jobs winds up being a lot more tolerable or even enjoyable because they know when they go home, they're not just zoning out and watching 5 hours of Dance Moms, which maybe I'm guilty of doing once or twice, but they're actually actively working on something for themselves. So I think that's the other piece. I think as grown-ups, we trick ourselves into we can't play and we can't have fun. And unless something has purpose or meaning, then it's not productive and grown up. And so we can't do it. And so we talk ourselves out of that a lot. And I feel like that is bull honky, because that's how we enjoy our lives. Like, that's it. That's how life is enjoyable, is by making, you know, the time that you have here on the planet fun, enjoyable, meaningful, spent doing things you like doing with people that you like being with. The end. That's it. Secret of life, everybody.
That's amazing. Ethan, great question. And one of the first things we do in this course, Michelle, which you just touched on, is we sort of decide what our commitments are. And not commitment like I'm committed to a music career, but like big picture, like you can answer the question, who are you? What are you up to? What's your purpose? What's your, all those questions that you're kind of like, I don't know. And it's not because we want to add the significance, but it's because that's the thing that drives us. So like you guys on this call, like you can hear how committed Michelle is to fun, purpose, and, you know, like it's like oozing out of your pores, and you have this huge purpose and mission, and it's all about fun and everything. And, you know, we get that we're committed to love, or we're committed to self-expression, and then we get to choose opportunities that are in line with that. And we look at what we're doing in our life that's not in line with that. And we start to choose and act based on that compass. And you can't act on that commitment when you're really, you know, when you're frustrated and disempowered, and, you know, you have to really push all that, those voices. I love that you call them the Dracula vampire voices. I love it. Vampire voices. Oh my God, there's so many things I might steal from you.
Take
I mean, just send me a bill. But yeah, you got to get rid of the vampire voices. I love that so much.
Yeah.
So
well, and I just want to highlight what you said, Cheryl, about choices, because, you know, and this is such a simplification, but it's true. Like, everything's a choice. You have a choice about everything. You have a choice about, you know, how you're waking up in the morning and what you're gonna feel like a lot of the time, and what you're gonna spend time on, and who you're gonna say yes to. I mean, it's hard. I'm extremely extroverted and a recovering people pleaser. So I'm the type of person that I've had to work on saying no. I'm a big like, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll talk to you. Yes, let's do all the things and meet all the people and have a fun time. But where was I going with this? I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, but, you know, you have to make a choice. Like, you have to make a choice, and I'm seeing that very clearly in my 5th year of this business full time. I've been very, very fortunate in the fact that the vast majority, I'd say 90% of the press opportunities that I've had have come to me through one channel or another. And so I've gotten lazy with being proactive about the type of opportunities that I've had. And so I'm like, one of my goals for the last half of 2015 is like for me to do a pitch a week. Which is scary, but I'm making the choice. Like I could make the choice to just wait to get emails and have people, you know, hand me stuff, which is great. But a lot of the times I have to see now that a lot of the things that I've said yes to aren't in line with who I want to be talking to and what I want to be talking about. And I need to say no to those things in order to say yes to the things that are going to serve me better. So yeah, finding that compass and being really clear as to what drives you and motivates you and what your goals and intentions are is so important in building your dream business and making a living with your art.
Oh my gosh, I just love Michelle, you guys. I just love her so much. I can't even help it.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Do we have another person on the call? Is this Favor?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to find a good place to interject. This is Favor.
Hi, Favor. We have so many. So we have Favor, Ethan, Deborah, and Perry all on the phone, plus Pamela and Eddie. This is a big call, you guys. Awesome. One quick question. I just want to make sure that Deborah, are you able to ask a question? Because you're going to be next, and then Favor, I'll hop to you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, good.
Oh, Deborah, we can hear you. Yay, Deborah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry I don't have video. Very glad to be on the call. My question, Michelle, the concept of the Renaissance soul really, really, really resonates with me. And kind of relates to a realization I've had recently, which is that because I've actually been pretty good at saying, no, this doesn't resonate with me, and shifting direction, I'm at a point now where I know what I want to do. I've written a musical and I'm coming out with my debut CD, but I haven't built on all the connections that I would have had if I'd say, like, done all the musicals when I was a kid, even though I didn't like the role, or, that built that whole network that I see other musicians have. And so now I'm at this point where I have some really great stuff to share, but I don't necessarily have this network. I mean, it's fragmented because of all the changes that I've made, like going from classical singing to singer-songwriter, that kind of stuff. So have you worked with people who are in similar spots, who are feeling, how do you get past that feeling of that you have something great, but you don't have the network to really push it forward?
Tell me your name. Is it Debbie?
Deborah, yeah.
Deborah. Deborah, this is going to be another annoying answer because it's, I think, just as simple as, like, you better get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it's time for you to just start really talking about yourself and reaching out to, like, cold and lukewarm and warm contacts.
Okay.
Because from what I'm hearing, I'm hearing just in your voice the excitement that you have about what you have coming up and the musical that you wrote and the other things that you're doing. I would think that anyone that's in your network now, like, wants to hear of that, even if they knew you from, like, an operatic background, or they knew you from kind of a past life and you were doing different sort of music, tapping them on the shoulder and saying, hi, I'm doing this thing now, here, so you can check it out. Is there anyone that you know? And asking them, sometimes it's really, really hard for us to ask for help and say to them, is there anyone that comes to mind that you think would really want to connect with this material, or could connect me to these sorts of opportunities, or anyone that would appreciate this, or whatever you want to ask for? But, like, really just, I would start with your, like, warm leads. Get your feet wet by talking to the people you already know and asking for help specifically. And then as that starts tapering out, I have tell me if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that like, do you know some groups, some people that you want to know better, or you want to tell them about your project, but it's not, you don't know them yet?
Not exactly. I think because I'm not even really in the musical field. I just ended up writing a musical because I was writing a one-woman show that had songs in it, and it turned into a musical. So then I realized, oh, well, there's this whole other world that I need to get to know. So it is pretty new. But yes, I guess, it would be going to specific theaters that, specialize in musical theater, and, with a little bit of research, I'm sure I could find that. Yes.
I think that's then what's on deck after that. And I think that's your ask right there to your people, that you're not connected yet to the musical theater world. You're looking for people who are connected to theaters, who have background with musicals, or I know there's a lot of, not a lot of, but more than one, like, solo festivals here in New York City. And I don't know where you live, but I have a feeling, like, go to the Google, go to the Google, or, meet up groups and see what you could find. And, when you have that theater that seems to might be open to, reading your show and booking you, or you find that group that's, like, made up of other people who do solo shows, then, send that email or show up to that meeting and be ready to talk about things. The only way to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only other thing we're saying is that I'm always, always, always shocked, although I shouldn't be anymore, that from doing this work in the last 7 years that I've been the When I Grow Up coach, I've yet to have a client say to me, I need to find out this certain thing, or I need to talk to this type of person, or meet this person. And I'll say to them, great, how do you do, what comes to mind? How do you think you could do that? They go, oh, well, yeah, I already know so-and-so. Like, they already have a connection. I literally had one client say, like, my sister does that. But I've never talked to her her about it because I never thought of this before. And so like, I've yet to find someone that just has said like, nope, there's no way I could, there's no one that comes to mind. There's nothing that I know. There's no place that I could think to start. So, you know, I trust that you have that person or that group or, you know, the ability to do that Google search or whatever that you could get there. I don't think you'll be the exception to that rule that I found.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah, awesome question, Deborah. And that your question is one of the biggest things I've heard at music conferences. How can I get more connections? Which is why the MX4 course is not just about my experiences, what I know about the music industry and why you should do this or this, but it's half of the course is these interviews with other people and getting to talk to someone one-on-one and ask personal questions like this. So this is, I think that's a really great question, Deborah. So awesome. Thanks, Michelle. All right. I think the last person that's on the call, and text me, you guys, if you are on the phone, because I don't actually get to see who's on the phone on my program here, but I know, Favor, you're on the phone and you have a question. So I'm going to open it up to you.
I have been, for a very, very long time, I won't even tell how long, praying for the bridge to get me from my 9 to 5 that pays all of my family's bills for the most part because my husband's a pastor of a small church. And we got a house, 2 cars, the works. Not to mention tithes and offerings for supporting the church. Okay? And as far as my music is concerned, I've discussed my struggles here in the Midwest with Cheryl pretty much at length. And it's getting better. But I still do not generate enough income with my music to support the same level of comfort as I do with my 9 to 5 plus benefits. So I'm just hearing what anybody has to say. As humble as I can be.
Yes, I know this question before you even ask it. I know where this is going, and I'm so glad you brought this up. This is one of my favorite topics, and I actually just finished teaching a 2-day course on this in Seattle for a wonderful company called Creative Live, which you guys should all check out if you're not part of it. They have an amazing business model where as long as the classes are broadcasting live online, everything's online, you watch it for free. And then if you want to have access to the material 24/7 and get extra things, blah, 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 you buy it for like under $100. So I have a class called Ditch Your Day Job on Creative Live that's on sale now for $69. But Favor, it's going to be rebroadcast on July 21st. And like, so you don't even have to pay them any money. This is why I do this. Like, if you can, and I know you'll probably be at your 9 to 5, but like mark down July 21st on your calendar because that is 6 90-minute segments where I walk you through all the main points that I feel are most important to help you ditch your day job while not fearing that you have to move into your parents' basement and eat ramen noodles. So I'm starting that by saying, like, obviously we don't have 6 90-minute segments right now. So you're not going to get everything that you can get here from there. But I will say that I was nodding knowingly hearing you say that you haven't made enough money with your music in order to support yourself the way you're used to with your 9 to 5. I've yet to meet anyone that was able to make the income doing, people call it the side hustle. I like that term. Like when you're side hustling and you're doing your work on the side of your day job, it is, I won't say impossible, because anything's possible, but it is nearly impossible to make the same amount of money or even close to that amount of money while you're still at that job. It's just, it's unrealistic. It should not be where our expectations are. And instead, we need to focus on some other goals, I think. We need to focus on, you know, what our, I like to call it our breathe easy number, because when you look at it in your bank account, it makes you breathe easy. For me, when I was able to quit quit my job after being an executive assistant for 2 years and 7 months. I quit that job not because I had made the same amount of money coaching the nights, weekends, and lunch hours that I did working full-time in the finance world, but because I set up certain milestones for myself that I hit. For me, my Breathe Easy number was like essentially me quitting with a 5-month severance. So I had 5 months of my salary in the bank that I knew I could fall back on and that I could stretch into like 8 or 9 months of bill paying if I was conservative about it. I had a website that I was really proud of. I got my LLC, so everything was on the up and up legally. That was important to me. I had a professionally designed website, which was important to me, but I got it through a barter. So don't think you have to spend thousands of dollars on a good-looking website. You could find that person maybe to do that trade for you. And at that time, I had more people that wanted to work with me than I had time to work with if I stayed in my day job. And that's when I knew it was time to quit. So you can ask yourself and talk to your husband, bring him into the conversation. What is it that you guys need to see in order to feel as comfortable and confident as you can in making that switch? And we have to take the unrealistic things off the table. We have to take off the table that you're going to be making, $50,000 a year like you do at your day job. Obviously, I just made up that figure. You have to take off because you can't. There's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough energy within you as a human. It can't be that. So talk to your husband about the savings goal. That's never not a factor when I've worked with clients on this. It's always probably the biggest factor. What do you need in saving? How are you going to get there? And then what is it? I like to call it phase one. Like, what are the simplest, cost-effective, yet most impactful things you can do for your music career right away? So for me, it was the professional website, being an LLC. I should have been more specific with how many clients were signing up with me or how many consultation calls I had booked, but I didn't. It was just more of this general, like, I want people in the world to know that I exist. So, think of those things. What's phase one for your music career? What are the simplest, cost-effective, yet most impactful things that you can do in order to be, like we were talking about before, intentional and set those goals, and so that you have a plan of action and you're being proactive, and you're doing the work, and keep praying. Like that helps too, but there needs to be that tangible piece of things to be working towards. So I hope that's all helpful.
Yeah, that's a great question, Favor, because I know so many people on this call and people listening are in exactly where you are. Like, I have this passion and I want out of the day job. How do I do that? And yeah, there is this stigma of, I need to be making the same in the passion in order to quit the day job, but then you'd be making double a normal human being's income. Like that, what?
And you wouldn't sleep, and you wouldn't. I had the same panicky moment when I sat down with my husband and said to him, what do you have to see in order to feel comfortable with making this transition? And he had that response. His response was like, I have to see that you make the same amount of money. At the time, I was making $60,000. He's like, you just have to make $60,000 as a life coach on your nights and weekends and like lunch hours. And then once we had the $60,000, then you could quit. And I literally just remember, and he's the most supportive, wonderful, amazing guy. And I just remember just panicking because I'm going, that's going to take 47 years. There's no way. There's no way. And so I was able to come back to him and say, okay, here's why I think it can't happen that way. And here's what I'm going to be proactive about doing instead. And here are the milestones that I want to reach. Is there anything? Make this a conversation with your husband, have that support system, be in this together. Open up that dialogue and ask him straight out, does this work for you? Is there anything that you need me to add to this list? Is my savings goal, what your savings goal could be? Does it need to be more? Could it possibly be less? and get there together. And once I kind of set things up and like made an argument, and there's a whole segment about support and getting your family on board with this transition in my Creative Live class. But when I was there and okay, here's what I'm doing. It was an easy yes from my husband. And then he was able to see that, we weren't going to the movies or to that friend's birthday party or whatever, because I was working on this ditch my day job plan. And, it showed him too how committed I was to this, and made him really see that like, oh, this is going to work because I know what she's working towards, and I see her doing it and reaching these milestones. And so he was able to be more confident with the whole thing, instead of just like, I don't know, not having that plan, or just picking things out of the air, or just telling, your husband like, no, just trust me. Oh no, I'm working. Like, be specific. Let them in on what you're doing and what you hope the results are, and tell them the outcome on things.
That's really great. I love that. Like, just being in conversation. And when you this is something we also do. We set up accountability partners. And if you're married or have a partner of any type, business or whatnot, to have them be one of the accountability partners. So as soon as you say it, it exists outside of your head. And then someone is there, saying, you said this, have integrity, and they get to hold you to it. And then you get to act on it. And, Favor, I know you're working on performing a lot more, and taking one performance and turning that performance into other opportunities, talking to people in the audience, and you come leaps and bounds with that. And I think for musicians, it's really, if that's what you're going after, you're really clear that you want to make a living performing and being that singer and being, the songwriter. Like, how many gigs a month does that mean? How much does each gig need to pay? Like, get the numbers, write it down, not just, I want to play live for a living. Like, that's not going to, be like Michelle said, that's not going to be something that's going to convince anyone that you're doing. But if you're like, my goal is to have 4, right now I have 2, so I'm halfway there. If I get 4, then we get, you can sort of line it up. And the thing is, anyone that's on this call, that's in the MX4 course, that's listening to this podcast, like, you are already leaps and bounds beyond the other people sitting in their living rooms just wanting to play music. You've taken steps to actually, I just got a fist bump from Eddie. I like that. You already are thinking like, this is possible. And now, how do I do this? And to get to that place where you're just open to, this can look like anything, and I'm open to what anyone has to say, and let's apply this to my life, and let's start trying this and taking baby steps and writing this out, and it's all going to come back and sort of start to get clearer and clearer. So just one step at a time. And I think, Favor and all you guys, you're on a really good trajectory right now. So that was a great question. So we've got 5 minutes left. I don't think that's enough time for a laser round, because there's so many people on this call, but I think we've hit so much ground today. And I mean, just from quitting day jobs to going to the passion to focus to everything, I'm sort of like, my mind is like soaking all this up.
We covered a lot of ground. That went so fast.
I know, this is amazing. So you guys, you have to check out everything that Michelle is doing. WhenIGrowUpCoach.com. Also, she's got a great podcast, Grown Up Gigs. That's with the WhenIGrowUpCoach.com/GUG. We have an awesome, fun interview that is there. If you just search for my name, there's artists and other coaches and knitters. And I just looked at the list of people that you've interviewed. It's just all these people doing these passionate things and making a living doing it. It's really inspiring. It's an awesome, awesome podcast. So, and then one last thing that I will say, this podcast just got sponsored by Bandzoogle. So if you don't have a website, you do not need to spend lots and lots of money. They are going to give you a code. They're getting it to me literally this week. So any of you guys that want to try, what you're going to get is a 3-month trial. So you get 2 months free, basically. They give you a 1-month trial and then 2 months free, with the MX4 code that I'm going to get from them this week.
Cool.
So, and they have all the templates ready for musicians to go, built in the pledge music, built in your fan page, all this stuff. It's like ready to go for musicians, which is super fun. So I'm really excited about that this is the first official sponsored episode. So on that note, you guys, thank you for your questions and for your listening of Michelle. Like, I really got that you are just open to anything she has to say. We're just including me. I'm like hanging on every word that Michelle says.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And Michelle, thank you for your time. I know you're super busy.
No, thank you. This is so fun.
Oh, I know. I love it. So everyone, thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day. And, again, thank you. This is really important, these conversations. So it's great to be in it with you. Stay tuned for next week when we talk to Andre Kaminsky of SingerExpress.com. She is the founder of this amazing resource for all singers. So if you want to find out how to get into sessions and find other ways to make money with your voice, this is going to be the episode to listen to. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast has been created by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Ock. You can find all the songs, plus more information on my music career at CherylBE.com. If you want to be one of the reasons I can keep this podcast and my blog Living on Gigging going, then head to patreon.com/CBEmusic. There, you can contribute $1, $2, $5 for the creation of each of these free musician resources. Together, we can keep them coming and inspire other creative people to do what they love and do it well. Again, that's patreon.com/CBEmusic. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So, because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.